What about objects in JavaScript? Remember the mirror object thing on Code Wars? Your very favorite problem? So you should know a little something about JavaScript objects. How do I make an object? Curly braces instead of square brackets. Seems legit. Const foods equal curly braces. And the value, they're key value pairs, right? It's a bunch of properties and their values. So, proteins. The values could be anything. It could be a string, a number, an array, another object, a function. Yeah. All right. How about eggs, bacon? It could just be a string, lunch, twamages from Subway. I'm not the one who said it. Yeah, I am. Sandwich. Sandwich. What'd you have for breakfast? Why does everybody forget their breakfast? Oh, yeah. Breakfast. Poppin' Tart. They're totally legit. Poppin' Tarts, all right, cool. Or whatever. So, the keys are strings. The values are anything. If your strings follow the naming rules for variables, if you don't put any spaces in them and stuff like that, then you don't have to put the quotation marks there. But they are strings. Keep that in mind.
So like proteins is a string?
Yes. You can put the quotes. You can always put the quotes if you want to. And you have to if you do have spaces or something in it, which you're totally allowed to do. The keys can totally have spaces in it. Do you have a question, Terry?
So after the tarts in Poppin' Tarts, you have the comma there. If that was the last argument, would you need the comma there? Or?
You would not need it there, but you are allowed to have it there. So you can always leave a trailing comma at the end of an object or an array. And when I do an object on multiple lines like this, I always put it there because otherwise when I go back to add a new item, I will 100% forget to put the comma in. So I just always put the trailing comma in there. But the key could be something with spaces in it. Like Kate, right? Is it Kate? No. It's, yes? Yeah. Cool. What'd you have for lunch? Okay, sure. So I could have a key like Kate's lunch. More twamages. I use double quotes here just so I wouldn't have to put a backslash in front of the apostrophe. That make any difference? Yeah.
If you use a number, does it treat it like a number?
It will turn it to a string. Yep. There's a lot of automatic typecasting that happens in JavaScript, and it can be super weird. Well, we'll see some examples of that here in just a second. So how do I add something to it after the fact? That's a fair guess. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. How do I access one of these? How do I get one of these out of there? Say I want to get. I'm hearing two different answers. Okay, Zach first.
So if you were to wanted to access the value of one of them, you could say foods, bracket, whatever the key is that you're trying to access.
Uh huh.
You can get the value from that.
And what was the other answer? I was dot. So I could say foods dot proteins. Seems to work. Or I could use square brackets. Foods, square bracket, breakfast. In which case I use the quotes. So see, I didn't use the quotes when I defined it up here, but when I retrieve it, yeah, I use the quotes. Because it's really just a string. Or suppose I had a variable. Let meal equal lunch. I could say console log foods, square bracket, meal, and that would get me twamicas from Subway. So you're allowed, when do you have to use the square brackets? You can use it anytime. You have to use the square brackets if, for example, you put spaces in there or something. Basically, any time that you wouldn't be allowed to omit the quotes, you're going to have to use the square brackets. And if you have it in a variable or something, you'd have to use the brackets. Yeah, Chris?
So you can't do dot quotes?
No. Nope. You just have to use square brackets. How do I add a property? Yeah.
You could say, like, whatever your object is, so object of whatever new key you wanted to set and set it equals some value. So, for example, like, say you wanted to set, like, dinner or something. You say, like, food of dinner is equal to whatever value you want to set it to.
The word of, is that what you're saying? What are you saying?
Square bracket.
Okay.
Square brackets, yeah.
Okay. I always said sub instead of whatever. So you could say food, square bracket, dinner. What's cooking tonight, Cole? Tacos.
Could you do dot also for that?
Yes, indeed. Foods, right? Foods. There you go. Dinner, tacos. Yep. Or we could say foods dot snack equals. Anybody have a snack today? Lettuce? It's like raw lettuce. What kind of lettuce? Like iceberg? What? What would you had a banana for lunch? Okay. That's okay. Let's have a banana. Owen had a banana, and he seems like he means business. So snack equals banana. Console.log foods. There you go. It's there. So yeah, you can totally just access a property that you've never bothered to set and just set it to something, and that works. You can add it that way. You don't have to use a method. You don't have to have like add property or push or anything like that. Cool. So, all right. I said they could be functions. That can't be right. That can't be right. Let's see here. Foods dot eat equals function console log nom nom nom. Does this work? Does this really work? Let's see. Console log foods. Oh, there's my object. Okay. Look at that. Eat. It's a function. Really? So then I could say like foods dot eat. Heck yeah, I could. Totally.
Do you need the parentheses for foods.eat?
So if I just say foods.eat, that is just a function. Like that's just the name of the function, which isn't invalid, but it's not going to run it, right? So just like any other function, you could always just type that function name by itself, but it's not going to execute. So we could pass it as an argument to another function and stuff too, like we have others. Yeah, to actually run it, foods.eat, nom nom nom. Cool. What do we call it when a function happens to be the property of an object? There's a special name for such functions. What'd you say? Method. Yep. So methods are functions that happen to be properties of objects. Functions that you run by saying dot something. So I've casually thrown that word around a few times over the last few days. So we had the question earlier, what happens when you do use something other than a string as a key? What does it do? So we have an array called veggies, right? Veggies is an array. What if I just say foods square bracket veggies equal what? And I have a key called carrots the bomb, comma corn, comma Brussels, comma sprouts. It turns it into a string. Every object in JavaScript comes with a built-in method called toString. And for some things, it's something useful. And for some things, it's super not useful. For an array, it's all the things in the array separated by a comma as a string. Another object. Let's see. Let's make a note here. Non-string keys will automatically be converted to strings with toString. That's just how CodePen works. It's constantly, like every time you make a change, it's kind of annoying. But yes, it does that thing. Well, I don't mean the string veggies. I mean the array veggies. Get it?
So what if you did put quotes there, would it just change what veggies is?
It would be a totally different property of the object. It would actually be like foods.veggies. What it is when I use this variable here, let's do this. Const dinos equals T-Rex Triceratops, and I say foods square bracket dinos equal what? Then I actually have a key in the array that is the string T-Rex comma Triceratops. Basically, you don't want to do this. You want your keys to be strings. So don't rely on it to automatically convert it to a string because you're just going to get real weird stuff. The keys have to be strings.
But if you wanted to like reassign what dinos is, make it not an array, turn it into a string or something, if you put quotes around dinos.
It'd be a totally different property then. So remember, it's not, if I put quotes around dinos, that would be a totally different property that's actually called dinos. But what I did the first time was I actually created a property that's called, quote, T-Rex Triceratops.
That's what I want to see if it would change.
It doesn't change that one. It instead creates a new key called dinos. Well, if I'd put it on a separate line, yes. So if I put it on a separate line, now that's the string dinos. Dinos, yep. But then I still have a key, T-Rex Triceratops. So in other words, it doesn't make any sense to do something like what I just did. So don't. Cool?